The Tao is the way, the order by which all things move toward the fulfillment of their nature. It is not imposed from above. It isn't an external ruler commanding things. It's the natural order already inside of things, the principle by which they spontaneously act according to their own nature. It is the quiet harmony that emerges when each thing fulfills what it is. In human life, the Tao is discerned not through obedience but through understanding. To live in accord with it is to act neither in resistance to nature nor in blind surrender, but in alignment, to let reason, the distinctively human virtue, harmonize desire and action, past and future, within the symphony of existence. Every person is a center of awareness and will, an instance of the universal principle rendered particular. The individual is not an accident of the Tao, but its necessary expression, the locus of consciousness and choice. To be human is to deliberate, to select amongst possibilities in pursuit of what one values. Thus, individuality is not opposed to harmony. It is the very instrument through which harmony is realized. The Tao unfolds through the multiplicity of freely acting minds. To live is to act in the pursuit of values. Each individual must discover and choose these values, and by choosing them, each individual defines themselves. To act for one's values is to act in one's self-interest, but not in the narrow sense of momentary appetite. True self-interest is teleological. It concerns the flourishing of the rational being across the span of a lifetime. The pursuit of value is both practical and sacred. It is the enactment of one's own nature as a creative, reasoning soul. When one subordinates their own judgment entirely to tradition, authority, or collective will, they fall into an excess of deference. In such a state, the Tao is misconstrued as submission. The individual, forgetting that reason is the means by which the Tao expresses itself in man, abdicates all moral agency. Virtue degenerates into conformity, harmony collapses into stagnation, and the self becomes a vessel for the purposes of others, rather than a participant in the Tao. Conversely, when one seeks only the satisfaction of the moment, severed from the higher order of meaning, they fall into an excess of expediency. Pleasure displaces purpose, impulse masquerades as freedom. This is not alignment with the Tao. It is a rejection of the eternal aspect of reason in favor of transient craving and appetite. Expediency consumes the future to feed the present, leaving the individual diminished and the world disordered. Between these two errors lies the path of virtue, the path of prudence, the line between order and chaos. Balance, the golden mean. Eudaimonia, human flourishing, is achieved when one's immediate interests and transcendental interests are aligned. To act well is to act now in ways that are consistent with the enduring pattern of one's nature. The wise individual neither denies the present for a distant ideal, nor forfeits the future for fleeting gratification. They live each moment as a microcosm of eternity, their reason integrating the temporal with the timeless. The law inherent to the nature of man is simple and self-evident. Act as thou wilt upon that which is yours, and let others act as they wilt upon that which is theirs. This is the Tao translated into justice, the recognition that every human has legitimate dominion over their own person and property. To violate that dominion is to disrupt the cosmic balance, to act contrary to the order by which harmony arises. The objective law is discovered, not decreed, and its observance generates both peace and prosperity. Markets, when governed by conscience and voluntary exchange, are the natural outgrowth of divine design. To fulfill the Tao is not to dissolve the self, but to perfect it. When one's actions express one's nature, when one's values align with reason, and when one's freedom respects the freedom of others, the individual becomes a living conduit of the Tao. In such lives, the eternal manifests through the temporal. Civilization, art, knowledge, and virtue persist beyond the mortal frame. The wise do not seek immortality for themselves, but for the good they set in motion. In this way, acting for one's rational self-interest becomes an act of cosmic harmony, and the individual Tao is fulfilled. Now get out of here.